Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the Amiga special. This is the podcast where me, Andy, and my good mate Dave usually pick a retro game and try and pair it with a cocktail, but today we're going to be focused on a good few different games, all of them for the magnificent and 40-year-old Commodore Amiga. So this was originally going to be Speedball 2, but Dave discovered that it was the Amiga's birthday.
40th birthday.
Big one, yes. I think that the birthday is classified 24th of July. Interestingly, the Lemon Amiga site is the best Amiga website on the internet. Really great. Basically like the IMDb of Amiga games, or the Difford's Guide of Amiga games, if you like. May 31st is what they consider Amiga Day, because that was the birthday of J. Miner.
Ah, okay.
J. Miner being the guy who basically invented what became the Amiga. It wasn't the Amiga when he invented it. He's the main man. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. So yeah, his birthday was May 31st. So that's when Lemon celebrate International Amiga Day.
Fair enough.
So, but it's pretty close, isn't it? It's all around this time. Well, yeah, we missed that, but we figure it's still the same. It's still the year. It's still the 40th year anniversary of the Commodore Amiga. It came out in 1985, obviously. It's not complicated maths.
Depends on when you're listening to this.
We're not a technical podcast. What you won't hear us talking about the 68,000 chip or anything like that. We'll just be talking about the games and what they mean to us and the memories we have of the machine and the games and the times. That's what we do, really. And then we'll bung some stuff about a cocktail on the end.
Nice breakdown of the entire fucking podcast.
I guess the thing that's different about this one is that we will be talking about a fair few games.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump around, won't we?
Yeah. The Amiga is one of those machines that I feel... I'm not going to sit here and cry about or anything like that, but the reaction I have to the Amiga is emotional.
Okay.
It's a thing that I feel things about. That's a weird thing to say, but the same way it's quite a short list. There's the ZX Spectrum, the Atari Lynx.
Never would have guessed that one.
The Dreamcast and the Amiga. I think are really the consoles that I have when I think about them and remember them. It's quite an emotional thing. And the weird thing is about that, the Amiga I never owned at the time, not even close. It was relatively recently I first got an Amiga. I picked up a 600 in a boot sale that was broken. Cost me 20 quid, then cost me 100 quid to get it fixed. So about its value, really. But hi to was it Caterpillar Games do the Amiga things? We looked at before. I think it's something like that. Who sorted that out for me. But yeah, it's just one of those machines. I think about the Amiga, and it's normally, and certainly when you think the Spectrum, the Lynx, and the Dreamcast, there's something of the underdog about them, and I thought it might be that. But at the time, the Amiga wasn't the underdog at all.
No, the Amiga was top dog.
It was absolutely smashing it. It was absolutely killing it. I mean, it's sort of, I think in the US, not particularly well remembered. It didn't sell anywhere near it. I think it sold probably hundreds of thousands in America with a much bigger market. And in the UK,
there's several millions in Europe, with an almost even split between the UK and Germany. And it sold under 1 million units in the States.
Yeah.
Which, considering it was made there, is very, very odd.
Yeah, I know Commodore UK operated as a separate company at the time. The whole history of the Commodore Amiga from start to finish just seems like an absolute clusterfuck. Like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was going wrong before it even existed. The company was sold and then unsold and then went to a different court cases and all this sort of nonsense. There's some really fascinating stuff out there if you want to dig into it. Again, that's not really what we do. We'll be talking about some stuff.
It's easier to find, though, because it's current.
Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely everywhere.
Every retro website at the moment has something about the Amiga.
Yeah, we are not. This is not an original idea. But it is fascinating and it is interesting. So if anything we say over the next hour or so, when we're talking sort of, you think it sounds interesting, just have a bit of a Google around it. One of the most fascinating things I saw was there a video that a guy who worked at Commodore when the building in America shut down, just recording, walking around the building, and it's the size of the thing, like completely empty where the production lines used to be, and in the offices where people were clearing their desks and that, and it's really, really fascinating. It's a bit long. It's called The Deathbed Vigil and Other Tales of Digital Angst. A guy called Dave Haney put it together. It's 2 hours long, and it's like lots of stuff in the factory, and then it goes sort of the drinks in the pub afterwards, and they're all resigned to it by then. If you've ever been laid off, it's horrendous for a long time, but eventually you just kind of make your peace with it. You find another job, and your last day is normally a bit of a piss up. And they're quite sad to be sort of going away from their friends, but it's quite interesting. There's a guy, Mehdi Ali, who was sort of blamed for the collapse of Amiga, and they basically burn an effigy of him.
Wow.
That's well worth a watch if you can find that. But yeah, there's loads and loads of stuff. If you just put, history of the Amiga or anything like that into YouTube, you'll find loads of interesting stuff. But it's a fascinating story. I talked on the previous episode about epics and how that's a fascinating story. I think the Amiga one's even more fascinating. There's even more political wrangling. It's got Jack Tramiel in it, so there's some dodgy dealings at every point. I'd recommend having a bit of a Google around the Amiga. Obviously, it's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about fun games and exciting stuff. But it was sad what happened. The one thing I did want to mention is that when I think it was in the sort of mid-90s, the Amiga brand and everything it was went up for auction. And Commodore UK were one of the parties that were favourites to win it. As Commodore US, clusterfuck, everything going wrong. At the same time, Commodore UK absolutely smashing it. I think sort of reading between the lines, by focusing on games, by sort of pitching the Amiga as a successor to things like the Spectrum and the Amstrad and the Commodore 64 as a games machine and not just a PC workbench tool type thing.
Well, they had different versions for each of the quote-unquote more consumer models, like the Amiga 500. There was a more business-oriented version.
Yeah.
So the original version was the 1000. Second was the 500, which was pitched more as a consumer market thing. And at the same time as that, there was the 2000.
Yeah.
So there was always like a more high-end version aimed at professionals, and then a secondary, a more mass consumer market home computer version.
Yeah, and I think when most people think of the Amiga, they think of the 500. I think that's the image that comes into their mind. Obviously, there will be people out there who had 1000s, 2000s, even the 4000 is in people's homes. Isn't it the 3000 that's in the virtuality machines?
Yes.
Very much a sort of background machine, never really sort of not sold on its own as a consumer unit. But yes, I think the 500 is the one that most people think of as an Amiga. Maybe the 1200. Those two were, I think, the main sort of home computer versions. The 600 was this weird thing, a decision that was made to release a console that was probably a little bit worse than the original.
Well, the 600 was an attempt to make a bit more of a portable computer.
Right.
So it had a smaller form factor. It missed the number pad portion of the keyboard.
Yeah.
But being the computer as well, they sort of shrank it down. I think it was a good idea. I think the idea of making a slightly smaller form factor is how things should have gone. If you track the way like mobile phones went, everything got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then eventually got bigger and bigger and bigger again because the screen demanded it. But if you could end up with a console the size of a Raspberry Pi, what do you want on your desk? Do you want a big clunky fucking computer thing, or do you want a tiny little box that you can put behind your TV?
And again, with the console market, from the PlayStation 1 OUN and the PlayStation 2, and they both started to realise there's a market for basically the slightly reduced hardware quality, but also reduced size, which can have its benefits. In the case of the PlayStation 3, the original model was an absolute car crash of overheating and the yellow light of death, and the subsequent models didn't have that problem. Same with the Xbox 360, the subsequent models were a bit smaller but also better cooled, and so you can make changes and improvements like that. So it was, I guess, ahead of its time, but I think people lamented the number pad not being there. I guess that would be the people more who weren't playing games on it who were using it for other things. But yeah, I think Commodore UK, by focusing on it as a games machine, as a thing for playing games, I say mostly the 500 and the 1200. I imagine that's what kept them going. The decision to bundle games apparently was massive.
The Batman bundle,
yes,
was the one that really kicked it off and really made it a success. That's what they always look back on as the moment when it really took off.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned the Batman game before, but I think the Amiga version of Batman I saw in the pages of a magazine, and it was like looking into the future. Honestly, that's one of my prime memories of the Amiga is Batman, because of the Batwing and the Batmobile levels and how different they were. So the Spectrum version was like 2 colours side scrolling for the Batmobile level. In particular, a weird isometric view. The Batmobile level on the Amiga version was, it looked like Chase HQ.
They looked like arcade games, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's how I always remember it. My idea of the Amiga was, I've got my, Amstrad 8-bit 64K computer, and it plays games, and then I go to an arcade and there's these amazing games, and the Amiga's almost there.
8-bit to 16-bit was a huge jump. You may not think so looking back. If you look at games now and you look at, the 2 different versions of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System and the Mega Drive, you may not think it looks huge, but I promise you it felt like a seismic event. For me, seeing screenshots of games like Revenge of Shinobi on the Mega Drive and Batman on the Amiga, it was just like, it was madness. And that's what I remember the Amiga for, really. And another thing I remember it for is how shit their Street Fighter 2 version was, but that's a different story.
With a 1-button joystick, there's only so much you can do.
This is very, very true. It did have a keyboard as well. They could have used that.
But that's the thing, though. Weirdly enough, the market for peripherals for the Amiga was quite advanced.
Yeah.
It was one of the first computers to ever have like add-on boards.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crazy what you can do with it.
Aftermarket third-party stuff where you could literally double your memory or add a modem or network adapter. Yeah. God knows what network you were attaching to because there were none out there. But
NORAD.
The fact that nobody ever thought to make a gamepad with like 3 or 4 buttons on it just is a bit weird.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, they kind of eventually got there with the CD32.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's these weird decisions, the weird business decisions that were made. It is weird that it was pitched as such a games machine, and with the Mega Drive had a 6-button controller version. I guess that would have been the most. Oh no, the SNES has 6 buttons as standard, didn't it?
Yep. Even the NES and the Master System had 2 buttons.
Yeah,
and they were out early 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess.
Yeah, I think contemporary examples of better control systems, but it never really happened. I guess part of this whole thing was it a PC or was it a games machine?
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
That's why it's so special in my mind.
Yeah. For
every Lemmings, there's a Deluxe Paint 3, which was good enough to produce professional art. Not by me, obviously. Yeah, the Amiga was used in graphics design and in TV. It was the basis for the special effects in Babylon 5.
Babylon 5's a big pile of shit.
Get out!
Yay!
And Sequest DSV, which you don't have a quote from Space about.
No, I don't, sadly.
I knew I wouldn't get away with saying Babylon 5.
Never gonna happen. Shame we can squeeze in a Hawk the Slayer reference. My tidbit that I found out, because believe it or not, we do research this podcast, was it was the computer that was used for the chart show when that had like a computer background.
Yep.
That was the Amiga. The chart show for you youngsters was basically MTV in half an hour. Very of its time. It was clearly a very capable machine.
Yeah, it was pitched from the start as something that you could use to produce art with.
Yeah.
It had Andy Warhol using it at the launch party.
Yes, I saw that picture of him and Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
It's just, it is peculiar.
But that's one of the things I've really liked about the 40th anniversary rolling around. There's loads of things like that.
Yes.
That have been very easy to find and read about that I've never seen before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Basically, you've had someone else do your research for you.
Or stories have surfaced that I never had
Well,
heard.
no, I think this is the thing. As I said off the bat, it's not our style to talk in depth about the history of this stuff. And I found it fascinating reading it. And I think a fair few of the people listening to this would think so as well. So go and have a dig around. If it hasn't popped up on your news feed already, go and have a dig around. I say it was a fascinating time and a fascinating development.
The big thing for the Amiga for me was the kind of games that came out on it were very far removed from console games. So you had flight sims where every button on the keyboard does something.
Yeah.
You'd have a really fully featured Formula One simulator that, followed the actual rules of the sport. I think mainly because the main control method for the Amiga and the ST, because they are very similar, was the mouse. And a mouse-controlled game is very, very different, usually, to a console game that's using a pad.
Yeah.
I mean, quite often you'll get things like a point-and-click adventure where it just emulates a mouse cursor. But yeah, a lot of games never came out in anything other than the Amiga and the ST because nothing else had a mouse.
No, you're absolutely right. And weird thing for me is because I missed it at the time, almost completely, other than, I say playing with friends and playing lemons with a mouse. And did I just say lemons?
You did say lemons.
Might have just said lemons, yeah.
Leave that in.
Playing lemmings with a mouse. I going back now and all the games I'm picking and playing and that, I'm like looking for things to play and scrolling past the ones like Civilization and all the very sort of PC side, because that's, I think, what it when you look at the list of games, it really does feel like there's PC games on it and there's console games on it. And obviously you normally, or were, you didn't often get, hard to believe now with the likes of Steam, that you didn't often get console games ported to a PC.
No.
But the Amiga just seemed to be in that middle ground and get a bit of everything. But yeah, still now, I don't play many of the games that require a mouse. I was very confused playing Syndicate earlier. Completely free. The only time I ever played Syndicate before was on the SNES. So
Yeah, I was going to say the SNES version is actually very good.
Yeah, I really like it. It gets a lot of hate, but I think it looks really cool and I think it plays really well. Obviously, Cannon Fodder is very heavily a mouse game on the Amiga. It plays fine with a control pad. I'm sure it will play better slightly. You're right, and it really is that crossover, I think, of console games and PC games. So if you had a console at the time, seeing that stuff, Civilization, North and South, all these very sort of strategy heavy games would have been something new and a bit special, I guess, if you like that sort of thing.
One of my big games that I loved to play on the Amiga was the Settlers. Very first version of Settlers was brilliant. Nothing else like it on consoles at all.
I've never played it.
You wouldn't like it.
No, it seems unlikely.
It's management and production lines and things like that. You would hate it. I might make you play it, actually.
I think I've said before, I sort of associate you with the Mega Drive when I think about old consoles and things. So the concept of you having an Amiga.
Yeah, like I said, never owned one. Used to one fairly regularly, but and would just basically go around my mate Barry's house and sit and play Supercars or James Pond for hours at a time.
Which are both like console-style games. This is my point.
Yeah.
I think it was really good at that. And I think sort of the perception of it as predominantly a games machine seems to be a bit of a UK thing.
Well, most of the games were being made here.
Mm.
You've only got to Google Bedrooms to Billions for the documentary films that have been made about people like Codemasters.
Yeah.
Who literally just were 13, 14-year-old kids who started coding games in their bedrooms that have become multi-billion-pound industry giants.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is insane. You look at what Codemasters are doing now compared to what they were doing when they started. It's incomprehensible, isn't it? I know, clearly they're not exactly the same people. I'm sure the Oliver twins, I always get them confused with somebody else. I'm pretty sure Codemasters is the Oliver twins.
You always want to say Oliver or Darling, don't you? Darling are the ones who did Dizzy, I think, if I remember right.
That's right, yeah. And there's, of course, the Bitmap brothers who weren't brothers, all using bitmaps. But But yeah, Codemasters started on things like Dizzy, which is probably another game we're finally going to do. Dave's tried to make us do Dizzy twice and failed twice, but we will get round to the Dizzy series at some point. And that was sort of the first really popular game that Codemasters did. And you look at that compared to what the company's doing now and how big it's become, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, and DMA Design, who became Rockstar.
Yeah.
All over the Amiga, all over the Spectrum. Prior to that, Rare and the company Rare were originally called Ultimate Play the Game. They started on the Spectrum. All these massive companies started in the UK making games for the Amiga and the Spectrum and these home computers.
Team 17, they're another one.
Yes. Yeah.
Still going strong now.
Yeah.
Producing more and more Worms games.
So when you used to borrow or go and play on an Amiga at the time, What was it you were playing other than James Pond 3?
The main games that I really enjoyed playing, there was an old Microprose game called Pirates, which was made by Sid Meier, him of Civilization fame, and it's been remade and remastered a couple of times. That's one of my favourite games of all time, still is.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. I know the geography of the Caribbean because of playing that game. I know every island. I may know the name that it was called 500 years ago, but I know where it is. Used to love that. The Bard's Tale, which I had on the Amstrad, the Amiga and ST versions were much, much better.
Yeah.
Almost different games. What else was there? Dungeon Master. Used to love playing that. And then more actiony stuff like Speedball, Speedball 2.
What was Dungeon Master?
It's a dungeon crawler game where you put together a team of 4 resurrected heroes. You walk into this maze like dungeon, and the first big room is all these portraits on the wall, and you pick your people based on what their various abilities are.
Right.
And then you go down and down and down through this dungeon, and it is incredibly difficult but really, really good. I actually finished it. It's one of the few games of that type and that era that I ever actually finished.
But no, I think Bastard Hard could be like the subtitle of the Amiga. Most of the games are really fucking hard.
Most games of that era
Well, that's true.
are hard.
Yeah, but I think
Not just that system. I mean, look at some of the shoot-em-ups. There's Xenon and Xenon 2.
yeah,
They're fantastic games. They're
They
really, really
are.
good. Xenon 2, I think, probably one of the best soundtracks that you'll hear in a game of that time.
Mega Blast.
Because it's basically the song Mega Blast by Bomb the Bass.
Yeah, love Bomb the Bass.
Yeah. Oh, there was Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge.
Yeah,
That was good,
and
which we
Lotus
played a bit
2.
of recently.
Yeah, did we play that or did we play the second one?
First one, I thought. Can't remember.
I think so too. Didn't hold up, did it?
It wasn't bad.
No,
It wasn't quite as good as I'd hoped.
No. It's a game I remember from the Spectrum, with the sort of the resounding memory of it being, and I think it might be thinking of the second one. It was split screen, horizontal, because vertical split screens are very relatively recent invention for some reason. People didn't think to do it for years and years. But on the bottom screen, you had a side profile view of a Lotus Esprit. Like in a garage.
Okay.
It was a really nice graphic. Obviously, if you're playing 2-player, then that would be taken up. But when you're playing on the top screen, but it was the graphic of the car was so big that you couldn't see the track. And it's not like that on the Amiga. It's much, much better than that on the Amiga. It's such a shame because it's a really lovely looking game on the Spectrum in that sort of Spectrum style. But yeah, so annoying. I was looking today and very recently, like within weeks, I think somebody has remade Outrun for the Amiga.
Oh, okay.
Because the Amiga version of Outrun is awful. One of the shit ones, sadly. Yeah, so they've taken the way it's compiled. You get the main ROM, and then you have to yourself extract assets from the main ROM, and then put it together with what this geezer's done. And then you need a ridiculously powerful version of the Amiga, or an emulated ridiculously powerful. And then it will run what is almost an arcade perfect version of Outrun. We should probably shout out. There's something called Amiga Live, which is designed for playing Amiga games online against other people, but also works as just an emulator in its own right. And it's fantastic.
Well, not only that, it's a standalone emulator that doesn't need a degree to set it up.
Literally, honestly, it's brilliant because the Amiga emulators are quite complicated. They're not massively complicated. It's not like you don't need a degree. Dave's exaggerating a smidge.
There is an element of setup that is missing from most other emulators.
Yeah, normally it turn it on, maybe install the BIOS, and off you go. There's a bit more than that with most Amiga. Amiga Live is both basic, almost plug and play, and allows you to play games online against friends in different counties or probably different countries. Don't know how reliable it would be. It's utterly brilliant. Really, really good. Highly recommended. It uses the S02E18 emulator, I think, in the background. I think I've got that right.
Yeah, it's a portable version of it, so it doesn't require an installation.
Brilliant. Really, really good. We played a few games.
What did we play, Andy?
Oh, Dave. Oh, we played Stunt Car Racer, Dave.
No, what did we play most, and how did it go?
So... Dave just mentioned when he was talking about the games that he played previously that he played Speedball 2 back in the day. I think
Not very much, just once or twice.
I think I had genuinely only played it once or twice before. So we played some online Speedball 2, and my God, did I get a thrashing. I mean, Jesus Christ. I think there was one game you won 200 and something to 20, wasn't there?
The best one was the game when I won I only scored 10 points, and it was your own goal that got me those 10 points. And I specifically didn't score any other points in the entire rest of the game and still won.
Or concede, it turns out. Yes. I have no defense.
So we played for what? About an hour before you actually finally managed to win one.
Yes, and I think Dave was just falling asleep.
And bearing in mind a game lasts, what, three or 4 minutes?
It is one of the things that really struck me about Speedball 2 is it is 90 seconds of absolute chaos. But Dave knew what he was doing. And to me, it just felt like chaos. And it's brilliant. And I loved it. Even when I was getting absolutely fucking mauled. Loved it. But God, fucking brutal when you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I'm like, so that's the goal. So you just throw it in the goal, right? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, it's fucking... Anyway, point being... Amiga Live lets you do that. Don't forget to set the same password, and if you turn it off and turn it on again, don't forget to reset the right password, unlike we did, and then fucked around for half hour wondering why it wasn't working.
Also, if you're playing on Windows 11, you have to allow the app to run and allow the emulator to run separately, because Windows will block both of them.
So there you go. But like, highly recommended as a really easy way to play Amiga games. Loads and loads of games built in as well. So I think this is really a really important thing to say. And don't think there's been anything on there that I've wanted to play that I couldn't. The games are they're organised in quite a confusing way.
Yeah, split between multiplayer and single player.
Yes.
Which is odd.
Yeah, even though the games in the multiplayer, some of them have a single player mode. They'll be in one area. So sometimes you have to look in both menus. But other than that, borderline faultless. I really can't recommend it highly enough. Really good fun. So the reason I started this point was I just wondered if have you only gone back and replayed games that you used to love, or have you tried anything new?
No, I got stuck on 2.
Right.
I knew I didn't need to and shouldn't have, but I booted up Frontier Elite 2,
right,
and played that for almost an entire evening. And then just before we came on to start recording this, I just finished Millennium 2.2, which is one of my favourite games of all time. So that's taken a couple of evenings to finish that.
I don't even know what that is. I think this is going to shine a light on our different tastes in games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Frontier Elite 2 and Elite in general is going to get its own episode. We're probably going to have Rack back from the System Shock episode to do that with us, to basically pick up my slack like he did in System Shock. So let's not talk about that too much. But what's Millennium 2, did you say?
Millennium 2.2.
2.2.
So it's a space colony management game where the basic story is that the Earth has turned to shit.
Yeah.
It starts on January the 1st, 2200. So that's where the Millennium 2.2 bit comes in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You are in control of a colony on the moon, and there is another colony on Mars that on day one of the game declares war on you. But that's a great game. And it got a sequel, which I've never played, called Deutros.
Deutros Gully?
No, not that one.
So the only game because we did play a bit of Stunt Car Racer, which you'd clearly not played much of before.
Oh, yeah. I will go back to that, because I did used to enjoy playing Stunt Car Racer and never had... It's one of those games where I'd go around my mate's house and play it rather than have it at home to sit and play for a good period of time and get good at.
Yeah.
Knowing how much to turn and when to turn.
It's worth it. You have to learn the tracks. You absolutely have to learn the tracks. It's that kind of game. You can't just pick it up and play it and guess. You have to know how fast you need to be going at each part. And it was crazy to me. I'd played it to death on the Spectrum. One of my favourite games on the Spectrum. The fact it even runs is a miracle. I reckon it's at least 4 times faster on the Amiga. Seemed rocket shit fast, but the weird thing was I still was able to play it. I was still able to just by, I guess, upping my reactions a little bit, but everything still worked. All the speeds were the same for the different bits. I want to go back and play it some more on the Amiga, because just crazy. Love the game. And that's clearly the best version of it. Well, I don't know. The ST version is any better.
It won't be.
No, they really are they?
Amiga version is generally a bit better than ST's.
There was a bit of a habit of doing an ST port and then lazily porting it to the Amiga, but the games were never good to start with. I think was what was notable about that. If they were doing a lazy port of an ST game to the Amiga, there was a fair chance that game wasn't much cop anyway. It feels like a bit of a skip to the end, but stuff like Stunt Car Racer, later Amiga games, they started to be like competently handling polygons. I picked up a game recently, not really knowing what it was. Hi to consolemad.co.uk, one of the places that cost me way too much money buying old games. But it came up in their sort of mail shot. They had a Amiga game called Hunter that I'd never heard of, so I googled it. And it's insane. It is pretty much an open world game.
Okay.
With good polygon graphics running on the Amiga. And I think the 500 as well. I'm happy to be corrected on that. But it really does sort of span that whole thing when you think the likes of Lemmings and then all the way through to very competent. RoboCop 3 was another one.
RoboCop 3 has one of the funniest stories about copyright protection I've ever heard. They had a peripheral, like a small thing that plugged into I think it was the second joystick port or something.
Right.
And this thing was sold as basically, nobody will be able to play a copied version of this game because of this peripheral that will include with it. And hacking groups just broke it within like 20 minutes. Literally, as soon as you put that challenge out there, like, oh yeah, none of the hackers will find a way around this.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Now give it back. I'm finished. It was an interview with one of the people really involved with the hacking groups. And it was really, really interesting. The competitiveness between the various groups to be the first person to release a hacked version of a game. And that's something we've not actually covered yet. The Amiga was like literally the birth of piracy.
Yes.
On the home computers. You could copy anything.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of games you played like when I went to somebody else's house and played a game, there weren't a lot that didn't come up with a screen before where you could add cheats and say hacked by X.
Fairlight.
Yeah.
Was one of the big ones. I always remember them.
Yeah, it was incredibly common.
Basically, probably 7 out of every 10 games that any Amiga owner had a handwritten label on the disc. But I think as well, that was part of its success.
Well, it must have been, mustn't it?
There was a lot of lost revenue to pirates and pirate groups and hacks, but it gets your game out there.
I assume that still would have been the same situation now. Is if you want a pirated version of a game that's got DRM or not or whatever, all you got to do is wait a bit. I mean, I don't really condone piracy of modern games because unless they're games made by fucking Ubisoft or one of these monster companies that's ruining the industry. But generally speaking, just wait and you'll be able to play it. So, but I imagine that games on the Amiga sold loads and loads in their £15 version that came out on day one because there were a lot of consoles, and then were ripped to pieces and available probably in quite short order as pirate copies, but people still wanted to play games as soon as they came out. That's not a new thing.
Yeah. So what have you played recently?
Most of it's new to me on the Amiga because I didn't have the access to one that you did. So most of what I played, I think at the time I played a bit of Lemmings, saw Street Fighter 2. I don't think I played it.
Probably for the best.
Yes, absolutely. And a couple of other things that I wasn't particularly interested in. And then I bought one. I got one and got it working, and I played some stuff on that. I did play a fair bit of Cannon Fodder, which is a bit sad because I played Cannon Fodder to death on the SNES, and just going back and playing it something else, I really should have tried harder.
Yeah, but that's the best version.
Yes, it is. Also Laser Squad.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We don't need to go into that. If you've not listened to the XCOM episode, you can go back and hear about my love for the early Julian Gollop games on that. And I think pretty much that was it. I played a good chunk of Xenon and the New Zealand story. It's a really great version of the New Zealand story. And I've kept picking up games. Sensible Soccer, I played a bit of as well.
Oh, yes. We did play a bit, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Not well.
No, neither of us on that occasion, not just me. I bought a Gotek drive, which is a floppy drive emulator, and fitted that into my Amiga 600. I can't deny that I'm a game collector. I like to deny that I'm a game collector, but my vast collection of games says otherwise. But I do like to buy games and have them when I really, really like them. On the Gotek, I played a lot of Walker. It's a game called Walker.
Oh, okay.
Which was very late, very, very hard. Kind of shoot 'em up-ish. So you control a Walker. It looks like Ed 209, basically.
Yeah. Big mech thing.
Yeah, big mech thing. And you shoot with the cursor anywhere on the screen, but you also have control of the mech walking backwards and forwards across the play area. Brutally hard. Very, very Amiga looking. I played a good chunk of that because I think I remember it's one of those things that I remember seeing running in some form way back in the day and just being, Jesus, how is that possible? It looks amazing. It still does look great. It's got a really good vibe about it. What's really, really great about it, though, it's by DMA Design, who became Rockstar.
Yeah.
But what's really, really cool about it is the sound, because it's got like radio chatter constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds great. The gun in it sounds great. Really great sound. It's really expensive to buy second hand, so when I installed my Gotek, I did play a good chunk of that.
Yeah.
And I had a quick look at it again today. What I played new that I kind of fell in love with was the Chaos Engine.
Oh, you never played the Chaos Engine?
Never played the Chaos Engine.
That's a great game.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good game. If you don't know it, sort of top down but isometric, because you've got levels. I guess so you need to be able to get up and down the levels. 2-player, always 2-player, but the computer can control one of them and does so really well. Really sort of seamlessly. Never sort of draws your attention. Partially, I think, because if it gets behind some rocks and gets left behind, it just warps to where you are after a couple of seconds, so you never have to worry about that shit. Multi-directional shooter, but also with a good chunk of having to find keys to unlock exits about it as well. I don't know what genre it is considered.
Chaos Engine was the first time I ever heard the word steampunk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was a review or in the promotional stuff for it.
Yeah.
But I can very much remember it being the first time I ever heard the word steampunk.
I can't remember. Obviously, I didn't at the time. I don't think I knew it even existed. But I don't think I'd heard of the term steampunk anywhere near that time, which I assume was 91, 92?
93.
Okay.
Yeah, great game. Really good fun.
Really good. And it manages to not be horrendously frustrating, even though you're looking for keys that open doors that you can't see, so you don't know where they are. And it's not always doors. It's like sometimes it puts a bridge down, sometimes it puts, a new set of steps in somewhere. So I'll be going back to that. I also had a quick look at Chaos Engine 2, which was rubbish.
I never played the second one.
Oh, it's like crippling disappointment from the off. Chaos Engine is one of those games where you can see it's been made with love. It starts, it's got an intro sequence, it talks about the characters, and then Chaos Engine 2 reuses a bunch of that stuff, goes in, has less characters to choose from the first game, and then it's borderline competitive multiplayer rather than co-op.
Okay.
So I played it with a computer friend, and it's split screen. So the original is all both on one screen, which is why it does this warp to you when somebody's off the screen for too long. But it's split screen, and the computer character just bombs off and does their own thing. Starts going, player 2 has found the key, and player key has opened the exit, player 2 has left. And I'm like, all right, I'm just carrying on doing my own thing, and I get to the exit, and it goes, now you got to do that again because your player 2 got there first. And
it doesn't sound very fun.
I'm not saying that different is bad. Different is sometimes great, but it really doesn't work, particularly as a single player game. I can imagine as a 2-player game it might be a bit more fun, but still you're either gonna know what to do or you're not. And if you don't know what to do and where to go and find the key and out of the exit, then that's just luck. And if you do know, it's just a horrendous race to Just doesn't sound good. It wasn't received very well, and it isn't looked back on fondly by others either. I was glad to see after I played it. I was like, oh, I hope that's not something that people love, because I just really didn't enjoy it at all. But Chaos Engine 1 is great. And it's one of those games that's got a million different versions. It's like a 500 version, a 1200 version, and the AGA and the CD-ROM version. So it came out on all the different versions of
Mega Drive and SNES.
Yes. Yeah, it did. Really, really great game. Never played it before today. So yeah, big fan of that.
It's on our games list.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I was looking through Lemon Amiga's list of the best games on the Amiga. Quite interesting. Obviously, we'd not played lots and lots, but there's a few on there. Like Sensible World of Soccer, we've talked about on 2 different episodes for other games quite a lot. We haven't done a Lemmings episode, obviously, but Cannon Fodder, UFO Enemy Unknown are numbers 12 and 13 on this list. In the top 20 games for the Amiga, that's voted for by people on Lemon Amiga, 50 votes or more. 3 of them are Sensible Soccer. And then there was another game I played for the first time today that is one of these games that I coveted. And coveted is my word for the Amiga. And I did look for a cocktail that featured the word covet or coveted and couldn't find one.
Okay.
Because that's how I feel about it. Like the games and it as a thing was something that I really, really wanted but couldn't have. And I played for the first time today Wings.
Oh, Wings is awesome.
The Cinemaware, what I saw somebody describe as earlier today as the culmination of everything Cinemaware were trying to achieve. Cinemaware were a magnificent developer. They were great. I mean, you could argue that they are the cause that games are shit now, because they were trying to meld games and cinema. They were trying to make them not quite a cinematic experience, but add elements of cinema and presentation to video games for the varying levels of success. There are some great games. What's the one with the giant ants called?
It Came from the Desert.
It Came from the Desert. What a great game It Came from the Desert is. It Came from the Desert as a kind of a point and click sort of one solution-y sort of adventure game, but with some sort of first person controlled elements. There's a bit where you have to shoot the antenna off a giant ant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Famously, that was the screenshot in every magazine. That little first person element.
The other famous screenshot from that game was the Amiga cursor hovering over the tits of the nurse when you're recovering in hospital.
Welcome to the 90s, everybody. Defender of the Crown. That was cinema.
Oh, I love Defender of the Crown.
Defender of the Crown, from the first time I played it to the last time, which was probably a couple of years ago, is a game that I want to like more than I do.
Yeah.
I really want to like it. I love everything about it except the fact that I can't get more than one fucking piece of territory into the game.
So you've never stormed a castle with Robin Hood as your sidekick and rescued a damsel?
No.
Have you ever actually managed the siege bit?
No.
Have you done the jousting?
Done the jousting, yeah. It's impossible. I don't understand how it works at all.
It is fucking impossible. Always was.
If you've not played Defender of the Crown, it's a great game set in Robin Hood era England, and you're basically trying to win territory and expand across the land. With lots of these, I say there is jousting, there's storming a castle, rescuing princesses, all looking absolutely stunning, obviously on the right hardware. I think there's a Cinemaware bundle on Steam.
Ooh,
I think
really?
I own it. Cinemaware Anthology 1986 to 1991 I own. That might have been delisted.
Yeah, no longer listed, no longer available on the Steam store. That is a shame. At least you've got it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, sadly delisted from Steam. So play them on Amiga Live. Wings, I got sucked into Wings big time.
Wings is good fun.
Big time. Obviously, mostly a flight simmy type game set in World War One. There's sort of 3 game modes in it. There's 2 of which are fairly forgettable. Sort of a overhead, looks initially like it's going to be a vertically scrolling shooter, but then is far less interesting than that, unfortunately. Where you're shooting at, you're bombing stuff actually. And then there's an isometric version, which is more like a normal shooter game, but is again slightly, it's just limited. There's not really It's not really a lot of fun. But the best version is the dogfighting. Your sort of entire screen is taken up by most of your own plane, which sounds horrendous, but what it does is it works as the UI, and there's no instruments at all, but you can see almost everything you need to see are shown as things that happen to your plane. So if you're in a dogfight, the pilot looks left or right to say that's where the enemy is. So you know you don't need it on a radar, because obviously radar didn't exist. So you can see where they're looking and you can go that way. And you can tell your speed because he's wearing a scarf and it flaps at different speeds. And it's such clever design. It is really, really great. It plays like an arcade flying game. I mean, it's really, really simple. You've only got guns, old-fashioned biplanes, so they all move slow enough, so that's not really a big deal. But yeah, you can see the damage. You can see if one of your guns gets shot, it stops working, and they break down as well. The guns jam. You just have to wait for them to sort themselves out. Very, very cool. And a really, really early roguelike, I want to say. I know there are different versions of Rogue. There's roguelite and roguelite and all that. But when you fail, you die, and you have to have a new pilot who then starts from where you left off. Your progress carries on. You still go on trying to win the war, but your character is dead, and you've got nothing to show for it except his name on the leaderboard.
It's like the Boot Hill in Cannon Fodder.
Yes, absolutely. It does. And I was reminded of Cannon Fodder when I was playing it, because it does. You get a scene of a funeral when you die. It's like your character is dead, not video game dead. Dead. Pilot dead. It's like...
Pilot dead.
It's great. It's brilliant for that. It really is. It's a great, great game. I've owned it, say, on this Steam anthology for a good little while now and never got around to playing it. So thank this podcast for making me finally get around to playing it. Big fan.
Did you have a look at Monkey Island at all, or the second one?
I tried one of them. I can't remember which one, but I tried one of them a while back, and I found it forced you to do the whole try everything because there's no logic.
Well, there is and there isn't. It depends on where you are in the game.
Yeah, it felt the solutions were illogical, which means you've got to do the whole click through everything, which felt to me like basically the person who wrote me just basically wanted to tell me all their jokes. And some of those jokes were quite funny, so I was alright with it. Some of them not so much.
Yeah.
My favourite point and clicks, because we've already done an episode on them, are the Broken Sword games, and they do feel a bit more logical. Not always, don't get me wrong. I struggled with Monkey Island because of that. Maybe I need to go back and try again. Turrican 2.
Oh, Turrican's fantastic.
I thought it was shit.
Turrican is basically the Amiga version of Metroid.
Yes, and it's shit.
Why?
So we talked about Zool. Do you remember Zool?
Mm-hmm.
Got its own episode thanks to Chris. Hi, Chris. Hope you're listening, mate.
Good game.
Still. Yeah, we enjoyed it a lot. There's a thing, and I think it's very much a thing in British design games in that 8-bit, 16-bit crossover era, where collision detection was handled in a very unimportant way, shall we say. It's like either they hadn't discovered it yet or they didn't care. You walk through enemies and things all the time. And I think Turrican 2, because of that, is borderline unplayable. I found it easier to deal with in Zool and Zool 2 than I did in Turrican 2, because I think Turrican 2 is so much going on in every direction all at once, and things passing through you, damaging you as they do so. With the speed of the game, I just found it, just got on my tits. It's a thing I don't like in games anyway, so I think that's probably got a lot to do with it. Even I remember playing Spectrum games back in the day that did that, and it just gets on my tits. It really does. I just really don't like it as a design decision. There was a game called Rogue Legacy, which got great reviews. Everyone loved it and all that. And I played it, and it basically played like one of those old Spectrum games, so I instantly hated it. And I think through no fault of Turrican 2's, and Turrican, obviously, that's what I got from it. It has like banging your head against rocks to release power-ups, like a Mario game. It feels too derivative to me. is my problem.
I haven't played it for like 30 years,
Oh,
so
right.
I can't speak to its strengths or its weaknesses. I remember liking it when it came out.
Yeah.
Or when I played it, which would have been close to when it came out. It's well loved. I know it's got a lot of love.
Yeah, you're right. It is well loved. So it's number 5 on that list on the Lemon Amiga thing, which even with games, the very mouse heavy strategy stuff that I'm never going to play and don't really have an opinion on, most of the stuff that I have played and do like, I can see why it's in that list. Turrican, to me, it feels exactly like what you said. It feels like it's trying to be a Metroid, even a bit of Strider, a bit of that kind of thing, but just not doing it as well. And so, yeah, that was kind of my issue with it. It felt like a bad copy. It's like Star Crash to Star Wars.
Is that the David Hasselhoff film?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Oh, its one redeeming feature being Caroline Munro.
I mean, who's the redeeming feature in basically everything she's ever been in. But yeah.
I just remembered the other game we played an amount of. IK Plus.
Oh, yes. Did we?
That was good fun. I did enjoy that.
As a big fan of Way of the Exploding Fist, IK Plus comes fairly natural to me anyway. Way of the Exploding Fist came before, but is much slower. Every version of it is a much slower game, but IK Plus is great fun.
I had a huge amount of playtime on an arcade game called Karate Champ, which is the genesis of all of these games.
Yeah.
I had Way of the Exploding Fist and International Karate on the Amstrad, and then I remember seeing IK Plus on the Amiga. Just thinking, wow, that's taken all of that and shat on it from a massive height.
Yeah, really good. I think, did I come out on top on IK Plus?
You were definitely leading from the start.
Yeah.
I was slowly bringing it back, but yeah, I don't think I caught up.
So satisfying. 2D beat 'em up, and obviously pre. Oh, is it pre Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2?
It's definitely pre Street Fighter 2.
I guess it probably was about 89 though, wasn't it? Probably pre both of them.
87, same year as Street Fighter.
Oh wow. But yeah, IK Plus, so much fun.
Yeah. I've just remembered the other thing we played, not quite as long. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker.
Oh.
Which is a game I played a lot of back in the day. I used to love that.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Probably a bit like Turrican, which I can only assume because I never played back in the day. But unless I think you've played it ever since, the controls are very old-fashioned. Everything works in a way that doesn't come naturally. I think that as much as there aren't an awful lot of pool and snooker games around anymore. They control and play very, very differently to how Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker plays, which was considered a masterpiece at the time as far as sports games go and that sort of thing. It was just considered like unbeatable.
Yeah.
Tell you what's an interesting thing. This whole thing about the love and the support and the community around the Amiga and how games keep getting made. Relatively recently, I think it's 2019. If not something close, received a port of a game called Time Gal, GAL, which is like a Space Ace style.
Oh, okay.
So it's a Laserdisc game, the arcade version, which was very, very rare. And the only other version of it I know of is on the Mega CD, which is sort of, compared to the arcade, quite limited colours, quite slow, and something they did on the Mega CD quite a lot, which was make the screen smaller. So there was like a small screen in the middle of your screen to make things run better. So it's not a great version. I happen to own it. But somebody did a port of that 5 or 6 years ago to the Amiga, and it plays lovely and it looks fantastic. It's obviously it's more anime style, more sort of Japanese anime style of that 90s era, Bubblegum Crisis style. I don't know my anime, but that's what came to mind when I saw it. And as well as those games play, you're basically, it's an interactive film. You press left, right, up, down, or the fire button when you get a prompt on screen to tell you to do so. So as well as those games are ever going to play, it plays really well and looks great. And so this is the thing that this is the community. This is one of the things that keeps the Amiga loved to this day. It's just this fantastic community around it that you just got to love that sort of thing, really.
The fact that you can.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, it is fantastic stuff.
One game we have to mention, or I have to mention, you've probably never played it. You'll have heard of it, but you will not have played this version because no one did.
Okay.
The Amiga version of Pit Fighter
Oh, God.
is one of the worst reviewed games ever.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fucking dreadful. I think it got like 9 out of 100 in
Ooh.
CVG, if I remember right.
Oh, my God.
It was truly bad.
Wow. What's was Rise of the Robots an Amiga thing?
Rise of the Robots was supposed to be the Amiga beat 'em up, and it just failed massively.
Oh, it was
It's
awful.
one of those games, it's one of those famous instances where a magazine, possibly two, gave it really glowing review scores
Yeah.
because they'd been paid to and hadn't actually played the game. Dark or hilarious moment in gaming history, depending on which side of it you're on. Just sort of slowly scrolling through the list of every Amiga game ever made, and I've just got to Populous, which is one of my favourite games of all time.
Yeah, I obviously not my sort of thing, but it's a huge game. I don't know. Do you know what? It's not something you hear mentioned much anymore, is it?
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because it was made by Peter Molyneux.
Oh, right.
And the entire games industry has tried to forget Peter Molyneux.
But anyway, Populous is one of those games I think I saw at the time or played at the time with somebody trying to tell me how great it was and me going,
What? Do you shoot these guys? No.
There is a great motorbike racing game called No Second Prize
Okay.
that is unfortunately for me crippled by the fact it handles with a mouse. you press right button to accelerate and then you control left or right with us. But you're on board and it leans around the corners and it's the tracks are polygon, really great, and it's really fast as well. Just takes a bit of learning, a bit of getting used to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that I own and have played and doesn't get a lot of love. So I wanted to name drop that to get it some attention because it's very, very cool.
While you're talking about motorbikes, Road Rash came out on the Amiga.
Did it?
Yep.
What, at the time or retroly?
Yeah, no, the Amiga and Mega Drive were very close in terms of development.
Yes, that's true. And always quite interesting that the Atari Jaguar seemed to pick up quite a few Amiga games, I thought. It seemed to be that, well, I don't know why, but for some reason, I assume it must have been easy and cheap to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered, would they? And since I've got no reason to mention the Lynx, I get to mention the Jaguar instead. Alien Breed was a big game on the Amiga.
When you were talking about Chaos Engine, I kept thinking in my head, what's similar? What's like it? And Alien Breed is very much a similar thing. Notorious for its cheats.
Yes.
Have you ever read the list of cheats for Alien Breed?
I believe we talked about it on a previous episode.
We did. I can't remember which one.
May have been the April Fool's episode, but I don't know. Well, we've definitely mentioned it before, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them are not for repetition in this day and age.
Not for those of a delicate sensibility.
No, I could think of a few that aren't that bad. I mean, there's things like the aliens are Man United fans. Instead of coming at you, they run away. So that's just quite a tame one. But yeah, there's things in there about Dolly Parton and her various body parts get mentioned a bit. But I can't remember. There's some really random ones in New Zealand Story.
Yeah, again, I think whenever we mentioned it before, we mentioned that as well.
Yeah, it's like motherfucking Kiwis or something. Warps you to the end of the game or something.
Motherfucking Kiwi bastards.
Is that it?
Yeah, I can't remember what it does, to be honest with you. There's one, I apologise to Manchester United fans in advance of this, because to anybody else it will sound fairly inconsequential. To warp to level 6, you can type in Manchester United can't fly aeroplanes.
Wow.
Anyway, Alien Breed was one of those games that it was synonymous with the Amiga to the extent that I had and enjoyed and loved a game called Into the Eagle's Nest, which I'm sure I've mentioned before.
Yeah, came out on the Amiga as well.
Yeah, but it came out on the Amiga 4 years previous. But Alien Breed was so ubiquitous that I would like show people Into the Eagle's Nest, and they go, "Oh, it's just like Alien Breed."
Yeah.
Into the Eagle's Nest is great, and was also on the Amiga and had wonderful sound effects on the Amiga. Yeah, those sort of top-down shootery things, multi-directional shooters, is something that I feel is synonymous with the Amiga. I don't think I'd seen many of them before. I mean, it's something that was really about much. I'm not saying at all, because obviously Smash TV, multi-directional shooter, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Smash TV is an arcade game originally.
Smash TV, we might give its own episode to tie in with the new Running Man movie.
Mm-hmm. Or Killing Game Show. That would work as well.
I don't know that one.
That's an Amiga game. Play a mech type thing.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I'd recommend that. Give that a look. I've just remembered another game we played a bit.
What was that?
Panzer Kickboxing.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome game, that is.
Brilliant game.
Absolutely loved that.
Out on a few things, if you've not played Panzer Kickboxing, also known as sometimes best of the best kickboxing, or best of the best Panzer Kickboxing, all sort of variations of that. Out on all sorts of machines, all the way down to the Game Boy, original Game Boy. But yeah, the Amiga version is really great. And for a system that struggled with beat 'em ups a little bit, the fact that there are games as good as IK Plus and Panzer Kickboxing on there is a boon for sure.
Yeah, if you're a beat 'em up fan and you've got an Amiga and you haven't played it,
Yeah.
definitely get that.
Absolutely, yeah. I guess it's not quite as well known as some of the others, is it? Before we go on to anything else, the standard, is there anything else you wanted to mention that we haven't mentioned?
Yes, there is a version of the Amiga called the Amiga Walker. It's, if you go onto the Amiga page on Wikipedia and then scroll down through it, you'll eventually get to the Amiga Walker.
Right.
It's a very, very odd concept that never came out. It was supposed to come out in 96, which is right around the death of the whole. I don't think it's even Commodore at that time. It was the rights to everything had been bought by a company called S-Com.
Yes. Yeah. Dark days.
And it was supposed to be a replacement for the Amiga 1200. And it's just bizarre. Like, if you think of the shape of any computer or console you've ever seen in your life, this defies that shape. It's just fucking weird. I don't know what they were looking at. It looks like an odd air conditioning unit. You've got to look it up for yourself. But it's one of those things. The Amiga was like, it had more versions than anything else, I think. Because there's such a difference from the first to the last version.
Yeah.
Amiga kind of becomes this, all-encompassing thing that is a range of machines, not just one machine.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, its strength. Like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Let's keep the thing that people associate with this product. And Amiga did that very well. The Amiga Walker, I'm not entirely sure who this was for. But it's such an odd looking thing. I love it. I'd love to see one in real life, but only like 2 prototypes are made.
Check this out. I'm going to speak very, very quickly.
Okay.
Amiga 1000, Amiga 2000 A model, Amiga 500, Amiga 2000, Amiga 2500, Amiga 1500, Amiga CD TV, Amiga 3000, Amiga 3000T, Amiga 3000 UX, Amiga 500 Plus, Amiga 600, Amiga 4000, Amiga 1200, Amiga CD32, Amiga 4000T is every commercially released version of the Amiga.
There's a few. Did you pick up on what Amiga actually means? The word itself.
I did. Yes, the female version of Amigo.
Yeah, it's friend.
It's friend.
It's literally the Commodore friend.
Or, if you like, girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I never knew that until today. I only read that for the first time today. Because every other computer name is edgy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the Mega Drive. It's the Super NES. It's whatever. And it's quite nice.
But it doesn't. Weirdly, it doesn't sound like that, does it? It sounds like, to me, it sounds like more like it's trying to infer like Omega and sort of that kind of thing than it does friend. And whether that's by accident or design, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Certainly a much better name than Lorraine, which is a quiche. And also, if you didn't know, the in progress, the working title of the Amiga was Lorraine.
Yeah, I was going to come to that.
Probably in the same way I was going to come to Amiga by the sounds of it. So it might be time for us to move on. I'll tell you what. Before we do move on to cocktails, just one thing from both of us. What's your favourite Amiga game? It doesn't have to be an Amiga exclusive, just a game you associate with the Amiga. What's your favourite?
I've talked about all of them.
You got to pick one. I want one word.
Frontier.
Elite 2, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I think probably UFO for me.
Really?
Yeah, because anyone will know we did an episode on XCOM/UFO, and it was clear from that I loved it, and it's a game that I associate with the Amiga from looking at it in magazines back in the day, really more than anything else.
I never played it on the Amiga.
I'm not sure I have, so maybe that's a bit of a cheap win. But but again, I could say Cannon Fodder's had its own episode because I love it enough. I've not played it much on the Amiga, but I think it comes back to where I started this association thing. I associate it, but from all magazines and things at the time that was, and so that's kind of in my head. If I had to choose something else, as of today, it might be Wings.
Really?
I just loved it. It was just such a surprise to me. Just everything about it. The structure was a particularly nice surprise. The way it sort of has this emergent story almost, where each person has to fill in their diary, and the variability of it. I'm really, really surprised. It's great looking. I've always loved Cinemaware stuff. So yeah, I think if I can't have UFO because I didn't really play it on the Amiga, then it's probably Wings. Loved it.
Fair enough.
And it's nice. I mean, it's also very fresh in my head, which might be helping it, but it got me. Okay, we better plough on to cocktails then, since we seem to both be
circling around.
Absolutely. So let's start with your honourable mention.
So J Minor, the father of the Amiga, had a thing for naming products and chips and things after women.
Okay.
So the code name for the Amiga while it was in production was Lorraine, named after the wife of the company's president at the time, Lorraine Morse.
Oh.
Whether or not there's anything more to that story would be interesting to learn, but we'll leave it there. I'm not going to accuse him of anything because, he's dead, so he can't defend himself.
No, absolutely.
But anyway, the code name for the Amiga in its early development cycle was Lorraine.
Yeah.
So there is a cocktail called Lorraine.
Really?
Which I found on Difford's and sounds quite nice. It's 20ml of cherry brandy, 20ml of vodka, 20ml of Benedictine liqueur, 15 millilitres of lime juice, 5ml of pure cane sugar syrup, and 15 millilitres of chilled water. The cherry brandy kind of sold me on this one because that sounds really, really nice.
Yeah.
And the picture that's on Difford's is a very, very interesting glass. The sort of triangular martini glass.
Yeah.
It's like that, but sort of sunk into another glass.
Wow.
It's really odd. I can't describe it. You just have to look for it. Just look for Lorraine on Difford's. You'll find it. I was kind of struggling to figure something out for this. And then I found the most beautiful little hidden thing about the Amiga, which really made me laugh. For some reason, I don't know who was in charge of this, but somebody involved in the production of the Amiga is a massive fan of the band the B-52s.
Right.
On certain versions of the Amiga, screen printed onto the PCB are the names of various B-52s songs. Where this came from, I have no idea. But apparently the A500 had Rock Lobster printed on it.
Really?
The Amiga 600 had Junebug on it. The 1200 had Channel Z. And the CD32 had Spellbound, which are all B-52 songs. Where this comes from and what the sort of provenance for it is, I have no idea.
How weird.
But if that's true, if you own an Amiga, open it up, have a look. Somewhere on the PCB, it might have printed the name of a B-52 song, which I just thought, that's brilliant. I love it. I'm going with that. That's absolutely what I want to remember the Amiga for. So I found a cocktail called the Rock Lobster.
Nice.
Because that is the only B-52 song you need to know. And to be fair, it sounds quite nice. It's 25ml of coconut rum, half of that of banana liqueur, dash of grenadine, a ripe banana, so chop up a banana and blend it all in, some pineapple juice, some orange juice, and some dark rum to top it off. I found a great video, like a sort of POV barman making this.
Oh, yeah.
From a YouTube account called Belly Up Bar Cocktails, which is a place I'd be quite happy to go.
Give them a link. Put a link in the description.
Nice looking cocktail. Kind of basically is an alcoholic smoothie.
Yeah, it sounds like it's probably tiki style, right?
Yes. Well, it's served in the big, I can't remember what it's called, big fluted glass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it. But anyway, that sounds really nice. Looks really drinkable. Dread to think how much sugar's in it. Because it's a very ripe banana has a lot of sugar in it.
A lot, yes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to knock back a few. Definitely give one a go.
You'd give it a go, wouldn't you, Dave?
Yeah, as always.
There are actually 2 versions of the Lorraine on Difford.
Mm-hmm.
The original by Joe Gilmore and the Simon Difford's one, the one you were talking about, is sort of a variation on that. The Joe Gilmore version is a bit simpler. It's 40ml of gin, 30ml of dry vermouth, and 20ml of orange liqueur, so triple sec, whatever.
Yeah, I preferred the standard Difford one.
Yeah, but I could actually make that one, but I couldn't make the Difford one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Joe Gilmore was one of the Savoy bartenders. They are the classic Savoy.
Oh, okay.
So quite often those cocktails are quite simple, so they get modernised. Both sound very nice, mate.
Yeah, I couldn't decide between the two because I love the sort of hidden aspect of both things.
Yeah.
Like nowhere are you ever going to be told that somewhere on the PCB inside your Amiga that you will never open up ever. Yeah, this isn't a PC that you buy in 2000s where you're expected to maybe change the graphics card.
No.
This is a finished product that you will not open.
If you did fancy it, 500 in particular is very easy to open up and tinker with and change things. It's like it is a series of components. You're not going to damage it by opening up and looking at it. It's very much on a PC basis. It's very cool.
Yeah,
good shit. Actually, my honourable mention is sort of similar in a lot of ways to that.
Okay, what you got for us?
So on the Amiga 1000 was the original.
Yeah,
and on the inside of one of the plastic panels, I don't know if it's the top or the bottom or what, is the signatures of a whole shitload of people involved in making it.
Oh, cool.
I'm just looking at this. There must be nearly 100 people there. So yeah, and it's in the mould, so it's in relief on the mould on this panel. So almost like if you can imagine seeing this if you took the side panel off your PC, it would be in there. I think it's the base. I'm looking at it, but yeah, so so not all of them, but in the 1000, the first one, sort of in relief, these signatures of all these people that are involved in making it, which is really, really cool thing. And obviously our friend Jay Miner is on there, the father of the Amiga, and also the paw print of his dog.
Oh,
Pomeranian apparently.
Oh, okay.
No one's quite sure, but they think it was a Pomeranian. So yes, and that's the paw prints in there as well, which is adorable. And such a great thing to do. But yeah, his dog was called Mitch. And again, on Difford, there is a Mitch Martini.
Oh, nice.
Which I couldn't make because I would have loved this to have been my choice, because I love that story. I love that thing. And being his dog, I mean, it's just great. But yeah, that's 60ml vodka, 30ml of apple juice, 7.5 peach schnapps, and 7.5 passion fruit syrup. Quite spirit forward, but quite a lot of fruit juice in that. I'd be interested to try it. It doesn't rate very well on Difford's, but nice story. I think if you just put J Minor into Wikipedia, that the screenshot of that panel is on there. It's a really nice thing, and I think it can show how much of a small scale thing this was originally when it was the Lorraine, and when it was coming at that, when you can fit the names of everybody involved onto a piece of plastic and get it molded into it. It's just very cool. It humanizes what is a mass production environment, and I think it's
makes it a very personal thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially it's got a dog in there. So God bless you, Mitch and Jay. You're just my honourable mention because sadly I couldn't make it. If I ever get hold of some passion fruit syrup, I'll give it a shot.
That sounds really nice.
It does, doesn't it?
I do like passion fruit.
Yeah, no, really nice. The one I went for, I had to go to quite extreme lengths to make, but I got there in the end. So you mentioned, as I mentioned Lorraine, you mentioned Amiga. And what does Amiga mean, Dave?
Friend or girlfriend.
Friend. I don't think it means girlfriend. I think it means female friend, not girlfriend. I think girlfriend is a different word, but it's female friend. And for a lot of people,
Amigo is friend. Amiga is sort of girlfriend.
Yeah. There's the thing, is it Harry Met Sally? Where somebody says that...
The orgasm thing?
No, where somebody says that it's impossible for men and women to be platonic friends.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, me neither. It might be that, but yeah. So I found it's a community recipe on Diffords made by a professional bartender out in, not Corfu, Crete, one of those. Can't remember. Hang on. Pick a country beginning with C.
Cyprus.
Cyprus is exactly the right answer. Called this guy, the guy's called Polybios. I don't know if that's the name of him or the name of his bar, but lots and lots of 17 different recipes added to Diffords based on cocktails that he's made in his bar in Nicosia in Cyprus. And I chose the Friends with Benefits. Because we've all been there. But yeah, took some making this. The ingredients are 50 ml of gin. Fine. Very specifically 18.75 ml of lime juice, but also...
That's a very specific amount.
Yeah, I'm just going to switch to fluid ounces, see if it's a bit more round. No, it's not. Shots and parts. No, sticking with millilitres, yeah. So, yeah, 50 ml of gin, 18.75 ml of lime juice, freshly squeezed, 10 ml of triple sec liqueur, 17.5 ml of salted caramel syrup, 11.25 ml of Gifford Orgeat syrup, which is, I've learnt today, is how you pronounce that syrup that looks like it's Orgeat. It's actually Orgeat. The T is silent and the G is soft. 7.5 ml of honey and 30 ml of peach puree. Didn't have peach puree, got peaches, made peach puree. Didn't have Orgeat syrup, but it turns out it's an almond flavoured syrup, so you can make it yourself if you've got almonds, which I did have. So yeah, but it took a while. I had to steep and make and all that, just basically mucking around. But I've got a bottle of Orgeat syrup in my drinker's cabinet now. But yeah, it's a really nice drink. It's long. It's a bit tiki as well. I couldn't do the garnish because the garnish is mental. It's a bag of popcorn and a big dollop of candy floss.
That sounds like it's going to ruin that.
Well, it sits like he's got it sitting on top of the glass, not in the drink.
Right.
And the bag of popcorn is pegged to the side. Have a look at it. Looks great. But I couldn't do that, obviously. But it's garnished, so you know. Shake it all up for a good long while. Tip it in a glass. Drink it. It's lovely. Really, really tasty. Quite interesting. The flavour develops as you drink it. And again, it feels a bit tiki to me, a bit like yours, because there's so much sweet stuff in there, like the Orgeat syrup, the caramel syrup, the honey, the peach puree. But yeah, really, really nice drink. My female friend with benefits, my Amiga. I'll give him a comment on his cocktail.
Sounds nice. I like the sound of it.
It's nice. It's really interesting. Mine look nothing like his, oddly.
Well, we've said this before, haven't we? The colours and things aren't always quite right.
Yeah, I think this might be something else because it is sort of clearly a not professional taken photograph. It looks good, but mine was just like almost like a milky beige colour, and his is like an orange colour. So I'm alright with it. I know all my ingredients were like fresh, like peach off a tree in the garden. Other than that, it was nice to make. I enjoyed doing it, making me Orgeat syrup. If you fancy giving it a go yourself, it's very easy. What are we doing next time, Dave?
Potentially Dizzy.
Yes, back to Dizzy. Try again, right?
Whether we actually get to do it or not is anyone's guess.
Try again. Third time lucky, though, right?
Best 3 out of 5.
I'm just wondering if it's on Amiga Live.
I don't think the original came out on the Amiga. Could be wrong.
No, it didn't. I think it only came out on Spectrum.
Amstrad. It only came out on the Amstrad.
Didn't only.
You have to play it on the Amstrad.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. You
Surely the Amstrad version is identical to the Spectrum version.
No, it's much better. It's got 4 more colours. Sorry, it has colours. It's a game I've only ever played on the Amstrad. But moving on through the series, Treasure Island Dizzy played on the Amstrad, finished on the Amstrad, despite the fact that it is 1 life permadeath. Played it and finished it on the ST, which is a very good version. So the Amiga version will probably be quite good.
Hmm.
And I don't think I played any more after that.
I've never really played them much at all.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're platforming games with a character that isn't an Italian plumber.
But yeah, no, that'll be interesting. Give them a good. We'll try and do it again. Try them once more. Get it down.
Once more with feeling.
Make Dizzy happen. Again, I've never been a fan of platform games generally, so I was never really into them at the time. And I would absolutely give them a good shot. I will try my darndest to enjoy them.
You sound sold. You really do.
They were sort of kings of the budget range, weren't they? They only ever came out £2 or £3.
Yeah.
Certainly the early ones. I don't know if that changed later on, but I remember they were always budget. Very brightly coloured, sort of child-friendly in appearance. I'll tell you, not child-friendly in gameplay. That's for damn sure. So yes, that'll be what we're doing next time, the Dizzy series. I'll be playing them on the ZX Spectrum. Sounds like Dave will be playing them on the Amstrad. I might have a look at some other versions. We'll see if the Amiga version's any good, or whatever game it was that came out. And that'll be next time on Cocktail Mode, the podcast where gaming, like alcohol, is in our blood.